You serious?
Hello, welcome to another episode of How to Kill an Hour. Marcus Bronzy,
Not Marcus Bronzy,
There we go.
aka Sean.
This is the show where Sean and I scour the internet for some fun bits, some laughs, some crazy stories, some eggcorns sometimes, which we're getting back into today. If you know what they are, you know what they are. If you don't, you don't. Few people have commented on our use of the new Punishment song, and they've asked if
the Hammers Bond?
Yes, and they've asked if it's going to return. And has
it been positive or not?
It's been positive. People have liked it, but they've liked the piracy more. The piracy song just...
I see. I haven't seen this, so I'm not going to lie, but I don't trust you because I feel like
I lean in the direction of the piracy one. If I'm honest,
of course you do. That's the whole point. That's why I don't fully trust you, bro. It could be like 7,000 songs. You're like, no. There was a poll, right? And piracy one came out. 98%.
The poll was
really
no. The poll it's 100% because it's me that I asked, isn't it? It's fucking landslide every single time. Yeah, yes.
But wait, some positive comments for the
Yeah, man.
you can't. What are we gonna call it? We're gonna call it the facility.
The facility, innit?
Facility.
It was facility. Yeah.
It was the first level was facility, innit?
To be fair, if you were to call that, if you were to disrespect that and call that not a good song, then I couldn't.
No, we're not going. We're not doing that.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that. No.
Yeah, I think people know better than that because you can't. It's something that is classic, innit? It's a true classic. Not that piracy isn't, but anyway.
No, let's be honest. The OG Hammers Bond tune came out quite a bit before I heard the piracy tune.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I would have probably heard the. I said, how old do you reckon we were when GoldenEye first came out on the N64?
9.
You're going for 9?
9 or 10.
I was going to say, you know what? Yeah, you're probably right. I'm going to say 8.
Yeah.
I'm going to say GoldenEye N64.
I wonder what kind
Release.
of hold music will wait while Sean's searching for it. What's the answer?
You were closer. We were. Actually, I would have just turned 10. 2 days after my 10th birthday. 1997, fam.
You just gave your whole birthday out on the podcast.
Send me
Sorry,
gifts.
what's your mum's maiden name again?
Send me gifts.
That's actually, yeah, mate. Banger of a tune, innit? Thing is, though, people hear that. I don't think that there's many. No, there are songs that come out in games that are that good. But what you need to understand is these guys were working with very limited factors. They only had the James Bond theme tune to work to, right? Well, I suppose they could have gone out the box and done other stuff, but it wouldn't have worked.
Why would you do that, bro?
Yeah, man, it wouldn't have worked.
So what they did was they took the original score,
Yeah,
and they made just bare
They remixed it.
remixes of it. And I mean, let's be honest,
bare bangers.
some of the remixes are just
Bare bangers, man. I mean, we are really digressing now, but
All
I
right,
feel
yeah.
like no. I feel like Sean, if we're gonna do it, bruv. It's a live version of it. I got. This was gonna be one of your. What song is this?
I mean, I haven't heard this one, I can tell you that much. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
this and like there are some the Mission Impossible theme tune as well.
Oh my god. Thing is, if they made the Mission Impossible game with the same producers, yeah, they would have done disgusting
Wait.
stuff.
Was there a Mission Impossible game?
There were.
There were.
Yeah.
I don't even remember them.
More than
What?
one. More than one. Yeah.
How was that? How was that part?
The reason why we don't remember them, Sean, is
Are we talking about back in the day or?
yeah, I think there was an N64 one. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think there was a Mission Impossible game. Yeah, 1998. That must have been N64. Yeah,
You play it, yeah?
yeah. It was like third party. It was like third person. It wasn't James Bond, bruv. It had to. It wasn't as good as GoldenEye, bro.
Of course, I knew that already.
I think I probably played it, took it out, and then played GoldenEye just to like make up for the fact it wasn't GoldenEye.
But great. Actually, I would say this as well. Great films. I love the Mission Impossible. Like, pretty much. Okay, the first one. Actually, the first one's probably not one of the greatest ones. I would say some of the more recent ones are brilliant, man.
I like them. They're so good. It makes me forget about what Tom Cruise is like in the real world. That's how good they are. But they are so good.
I would say this. Annoyingly, I like a lot of Tom Cruise films.
He's in some great films.
Yeah, like
what's that one with the precogs in it? When he gets new eyes.
Vanilla Sky.
No, when he gets new eyes. Sci-fi one again. He's like a cop that works in a world where everyone's going to be shouted into their phones right now.
You're talking about the one where they're like bringing up the
we can't look off. We're not going. We have to work this out together.
No, that's not source code. It's it's on the tip of my tongue.
And that person, the one that he saves, that's the one, the precog that he needs, and that's the name of the film. Alternative timeline.
Wait, you're talking about the one where they catch the murder because the tide's coming in one way. And
That's it.
We're talking about the same
describing
thing. Yeah.
everything but
Okay.
the thing. But then there were 3 precogs.
Minority Report.
Oh, yes, we got it. Come on. Oh, what's the wrong one? Sorry. Oh, it's the wrong one.
Yeah, it's ruined.
All right. Anyway, let's get into our jokes. And because we're short of time.
Of the week.
Wow, that was some self-control, bro.
Yeah, man. If you want to send your jokes in, send them into jokes@howtokillanow.com and you can end up in our punishment. Now, Fred came home from university in tears. Mum, am I adopted? No, of course not, replied his mother. Why would you think such a thing? Fred showed his genealogy DNA results to his mum. No match for any of his relatives and some strong matches for a family that lived on the other side of the city. Shocked, his mother called her husband. Honey, Fred's done a DNA test and I don't know how to say this, but he may not be her son. Obviously, said the father. What do you mean, said mum. Well, it was your idea in the first place, her husband continued. Remember that first night in the hospital when the baby did nothing but scream and cry and scream and cry and scream and cry, on and on. And then you looked at me and asked me to change him. I bet that's...
Man.
Yeah. We do that. Man. Yeah.
Mr. Smith, I've got your results and we need to talk about them. But before we start, you should know, Doctor, can you get to the point? I don't have all day. What? Who told you? Oh, I tickled you.
That's a great secret, isn't it? That's what you get for being man. Anyway, an elderly couple entered a burger joint and sat next to a table where some young people were having dinner. The old man walked over and made an order for himself. He unwrapped the burger, cut it in half, and put one half next to his wife. Carefully, he counted all the fries and did the same. He dipped 2 straws in the soda and put it between himself and his wife. The old lady began to eat her half of the burger while the people stared compassionately. A young man approached them and offered to buy them another portion of food. The old woman replied, "No, don't bother. We just share everything." People realised that the old man hadn't eaten after a little while. He only watched as his wife ate. So the same young man approached and repeated his offer. This time, the old man spoke. No, it's fine. We just share everything." So the young man went to the old man. "What are you waiting for?" The old man looked up and said, "The thief." It's so... Wait, it doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. His wife ate and the young man...
Yeah, she was using the teeth to eat and then she was going to give him the teeth to eat his half, no?
Yeah, but then... I guess so, yeah. All right, cool.
Let me just mansplain the joke, your own joke back to you.
I thought he would have sounded funny beforehand, but yeah, I guess I would have made him... I should have done my voice. But it doesn't matter.
Or maybe he's just a G and could speak without his teeth.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's be honest as well, there's quite a lot of old people who have their teeth and still...
Yeah. I can't wait till we sound like that. At the bingo. 6 and 9, 69.
All right, I've got 2 that are, I'm going to do together. They're short ones. But
2 short ones of the week.
I had to break up with a girl who kept making fun of me for being colourblind. It was a huge grey flag for me. Second one is, I broke up with my girlfriend of 5 years because I found out she was a communist. I should have known. There were red flags everywhere. It tickled me, I'm not going to lie.
Last week was my birthday, but my partner didn't wish me happy birthday. My parents forgot, and so did my kids. So I went to work, and even my colleagues didn't wish me happy birthday. It was only my assistant who said, "Happy birthday, boss." Made me feel so special. Then they asked me out for lunch and paid for me, which was really nice. After lunch and a few glasses of wine, they gave me a cheeky smile and said, "Want to come back to my apartment?" I said, "Oh, okay." So we went there, and then they went, "Do you mind if I go into the bedroom for a minute?" I said, oh, okay. After 5 minutes, she came out with a birthday cake, my other half, my parents, my kids, my friends, my colleagues, all yelling surprise whilst I was sitting on the sofa, naked.
Do you know what, yeah?
We divorced shortly afterwards.
Wait.
Yeah.
This one, I always think, when I hear this one, I think, even if he wasn't, wouldn't they be like, yo, why did you come back to the secretary's yard on your ones after consuming some alcohol?
Easier to claim a case when you have clothes on, I think. That is the main deciding factor, because I think whilst you have a chance with clothes on, with no clothes on, just like the amount of clothing you wear, you have zero of the amount.
Yeah, there's
Clothing,
not much
zero chance.
to... Yeah. Oh, no, this is completely a misunderstanding. Just... Right. One evening, an old farmer went to go down to the pond as he hasn't been there in a while. He grabbed a 5-gallon bucket and some fruit. As he neared the pond, he heard some voices shouting and laughing with glee. As he came closer, he saw it was a bunch of young women skinny dipping in his pond. He made the women aware of his presence, and they all went to the deep end. One of the women shouted at him, "We're not coming out until you leave." The old man frowned. "I didn't come here to watch you ladies swim naked or get out of the pond naked." Holding the bucket up, he said, "I'm here to feed the alligator." That's one way to get him out.
Little Johnny's third grade teacher asked him to use the word definitely in a sentence. Johnny was the only student to raise his hand, so the reluctant teacher said, "Go on, Johnny." Johnny: "Miss Smith, do farts have lumps in them?" Teacher: "Johnny, I don't see what this has to do with the question, but no, farts do not have lumps in them." After a few moments, Johnny put up his hand again. "Then I definitely just pooped my pants."
Little Johnny. What was he
If
like?
only I messed that joke up, what would it be like then?
What 3 words do you never want to hear while making love?
I don't know.
Honey, I'm home.
Damn. The phone rang. I picked it up, listened for a moment, and then went, "How should I know? Call the weather bureau, you dumbass." Put the phone down. "Who is that?" my wife asked. "No idea," I said. "Just some idiot wanting to know if the coast was clear."
Oh, that's like, I haven't heard that. That was a good one. I like that. Right. A man goes into a circus tent, finds the ringmaster and asks if he can join the circus. "What's your act?" asked the ringmaster. "Ah, I'll show you, it's incredible." The guy takes off and flies all over the tent, looping and diving. He lands out of breath. And the ringmaster says, "That's it. Bird impressions."
I thought it was a Superman one at first as well, so that came out of nowhere. All right. All right. This reminded me of you and Amanda, actually. But let me finish the joke before you realise it.
Okay.
Because if I say this and then say the first line, you'll be like, what? "I walked in on my mate getting intimate with a gherkin. He pleaded with me not to tell anyone and begged me not to make any silly jokes about what he does in his spare time. I said, 'Mate, your secret is safe with me. And jokes? Why would I do that? You're in enough of a pickle already.'"
I knew pickle was in the punchline, but I didn't know. All right.
I'm out of jokes, by the way, Sean. So
Okay.
you let us know when you're all done.
Right. I'll do one more. This is a... yeah, I'll do one more. I'll do this one. Right. A mother was walking down the hall when she heard a humming sound coming from her daughter's bedroom. Actually, no, I'm not going to do this one. I'm not going to do this one. It's not funny. Right. I changed my mind. Right.
Wow, backtrack.
My nagging wife suddenly on a trip... Okay. My nagging wife died suddenly whilst on a trip to Jerusalem. Funeral director: "Sir, it would cost about 25 grand if we send her back home to the UK, or £500 if we bury her here in Jerusalem." Ship her home. "But sir, why don't you bury her here in the Holy Land? And you can save yourself a lot of money." A long time ago, a man was buried here, and 3 days later, he rose from the dead. I'm sorry, I can't take that chance.
It was a joke of biblical proportion, Sean. I gotta say, Sean. All right, and those were our jokes.
Of the week.
What have you got something else for us this week?
Sean, I have.
What have you got?
15 phrases that don't really make sense when you think about them. Part 2. Found missing. By the way, I'll reel them off. I'll reel them off. I'll reel them off, and then we can get into them if you want. Found missing. Open secret. Small crowd. Acting naturally. Clearly misunderstood. Fully empty. About bladders. Pretty ugly. Seriously funny. Only choice. Original copies. Exact estimate. Tragic comedy. Foolish wisdom. Liquid gas. And working holiday. There's a lot in there, bro.
There's a lot to digest there.
There's a lot in there. Your ears poked up when I said found missing.
Even the found missing one, I'm like, yeah. But there was, I'm not going to lie, there was many in the first 10 which I were like, yeah, man, these are all just...
Open secret?
Yeah.
Small crowd? Act naturally? That's mad, isn't it? Act naturally.
Yeah, that one.
Just think of something. I like fully empty for bladders. That's actually, because I thought that's not a real bit of terminology. It is for bladders. When you're going at the doctors, they're like, to make sure that you're fully empty.
Is that actually?
Yeah, I Googled it. And they said that's...
Because that sounds a little bit slang.
Yeah, but if you want to make sure that you fully empty for the doctor might say you want to make sure that you fully empty your bladder before you take this procedure. Fully empty, yeah. Seriously funny. Original copy.
Pretty ugly.
Pretty ugly, innit?
That just makes me think of Royce the 5'9".
Yeah. What's the bar again?
I can't remember, but it was, I swear it was like, no, it was Grand Theft Auto 3.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tune from Grand Theft Auto 3 of Royce and the rapper Pretty Ugly.
Oh, yeah.
I believe.
Ah.
I mean, that's a blast from the past.
I mean, I didn't know if you noticed this, but Sean and I are quite connoisseurs of old school music because we're just old. So that was it, Sean. Nice and short, but I thought I'd give it to you. Pause. I've also got bad advice
Of the week.
Oh, I'm a sponge. Let's go.
And there's a picture to go with this, which I'll show to you and we'll put up on the socials and put up on whatever. On holiday, my husband Leonard got food poisoning resulting in serious diarrhea. I found him an old carrier bag, made 2 holes in the bottom for his legs and let him tie the top to make homemade incontinence pads. Now I always make sure I have a carrier bag in my holiday luggage.
He needed some of those the leather mosh pit ones.
Could you imagine? There's a picture of someone with an Argos bag as little shorts as well that we've been sent as a little example. Bro, I'm just saying, the rustling noise of you rolling around with those is not the one, is it? And why not just go clean up?
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The rustling noise is going to be the least of your worries. If there's more of a squelching noise, then you're banging trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, man. And there's no absorbence from the bag as well. It's
just gonna leak down your legs. And,
oh man,
that's grim.
Every little helps though.
It's just no, man.
You can't even do the as the price thing because if you're in the UK, there's an advert where somebody goes.
No, you do that and it will just get fired up until like your back of your neck or something.
So there's a supermarket here. It used to be owned by Walmart, but it's not called Asda. And they used to have Asda price where they tap their backside twice. And yeah, what Sean's saying is if you do that, then there'll be a poo fountain. A fountain. That's our word of the week. Couldn't even realise it. Let's move on. All right, Sean, I've got one more for you though, right?
Okay.
This is a part 2. Mispronounced phrases.
Of the week.
AKA mispronounced phrases, part 2. Defecation of character.
I've never heard someone say that.
Especially.
Yeah.
Taken for granite.
Yo, can I just wait. I've never heard anyone say that.
Sounds like something someone stoned would say.
Guys, no, I'm putting this out there. If anyone has previously said, I've taken it for granite, drop us a line, please, because I need to know if anyone actually does that or has done that.
Gung-ho.
Gung-ho?
Instead of gung-ho.
Mm.
Right from the gecko.
Where'd you get that fly?
Where'd you get that fly from? Walking wardrobe.
Okay.
I could care less. Instead of I couldn't care less, we say I could care less. That's what people say.
Oh, dear.
Reap the percussions.
Okay.
A scissor salad or a seizure salad.
A scissor.
Can I have a scissor salad, please? I mean, that sounds like sass. And there you go. Those were our mispronounced words. Please fire them over to us if you got more, and Sean and I will laugh at them. But Sean, I have some drama. Douglas and a few other people said, listen, guys, the correct name is duct tape for duct tape, not duct tape, right? Duct tape was made during World War II to repair ammunition boxes in the field and keep them dry. Soldiers named the tape duct tape for the way water ran off it, like off a duck's back. In fact, you should not use duct tape for ducks, as the air movement dries out the glue. So just to be clear, you should not use duct tape or duct tape for ducks or ducks.
What do you mean for?
Duct tape, because don't use it for ducks either, because people would think that because it's called duct tape, they'd use it to sellotape ducks shut. Shut. You know, air duct. I'm saying it so many times.
Right, an air duct.
Air duct. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about a duck. I was like, what is the air? What's wrong with the air?
Say it slowly. Because otherwise it's confusing me. You should not use duct tape for air ducts, as air movement in the ducts dries out the glue on the duct tape.
And then
Or duct tape. Just to be clear, you should not use duct tape for ducts or ducks. Because sellotaping ducks is just bad.
Yeah, don't sellotape a duct. Don't sellotape a duck using duct tape to an air duct.
And don't use a duck for an air duct. There's no reason why it should be near that.
But instead
Crackers.
of using duct tape, if you wedge a duck into the air duct, that might also work.
And then use some duct tape.
Is that true? Is that true? We
The
fact
World
checked
War
that.
II thing. I haven't.
What was the chap's name?
His name was Douglas.
Thank you, Douglas.
Duct tape,
I'm gonna
World War II.
I'm going to put origin, and we'll. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Is only. Oh my. Is it right?
I mean, supposedly
Okay.
from my
Thank you very much. Listen.
my first
We stand corrected.
1942. A worker at the Green River Ordnance Plant.
Okay. I've got one more for you, Sean. Actually, I've just
No, I just learned something new. All for all the people going, it's not called duct tape. Actually, you'd be like, actually, be that guy.
So there's a post that's going around the internet, Sean, and as a British person, I feel like we need to get into this, and it's about birds being named stuff. It says birds are just named stuff like hot-breasted MILF, and no one does anything about it.
What?
Now, as we are from the UK and we are from,
Wait, is there actually a bird called? No, okay.
I think they're taking a mick.
Okay.
But we come from the land of the tit,
We do come
the great tit, the blue tit,
red tit.
the red tit,
I don't know if that's a red tit. Redbreast. Robin Redbreast.
the robin redbreast. So I'm going to read to you a number of birds. These are real bird names: the somber tit, the dickissel, the red-rumped bush tyrant.
Wait, hold on a minute. The what? The red. Say one again?
The red-rumped bush tyrant.
No, this guy's done something bad in his past.
It's from Colombia. I don't know. The blue-footed booby, the American bush tit, the woodcock, the Andean cock of the rock,
What? Cock of the rock.
Andean cock of the rock, the fluffy back-tit babbler, the tough titmouse.
What?
And we will put this up, but Sean, I promise you, these are all real names. What was your favourite bird name though?
Wait, go back. What was the babbler one? What was the babbler? That one sounded. I mean, cock of the rock. The fluffy backed tit babbler.
Yeah.
There's
a guy I used to work with that we called that behind his back.
It seems like a derogatory thing to call. Like, you'd be like, "Oh, have a good weekend." Yeah, got my leg over in a weekend. Oh, is it? Yeah, well, she was.
I thought it was more like
Fucking hell.
proper fluffy back tip. I thought it would be like something that you use as like an insult to you. Like you come into a room and then there's like a mess and you go, "You bunch of fluffy back tit babblers, get out!"
Also works.
Yeah.
Works a treat.
What am I? An Andean cock of the rock? I like it. And I like the red-rumped bush tyrant.
Yeah, I mean, that one sounds like someone named the bird after seeing the bird getting up to no good.
Yeah, man.
That sounds like something behind that one.
Yeah, man.
Another.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting deep in the cloaca, that bird. That is a hard word for me to hear because I think about what that is and it's not a thing. But yeah, Sean, those are my bits of the week for you, Sean, and those were our jokes of the week. So I guess it's time for our news
of the week.
Keeping it on, keeping up with news of the moment.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a better way of saying that, but I couldn't come up with it.
Of
the
week.
there we go. What a segue. And on the weekend, we have the hotly anticipated Chris Eubank Jr. versus Connor Benn.
At last. Because Sean, obviously there are a number of people here that aren't into sports and stuff. Can you just give us super brief history of why this is a big blood feud and also why this is taking so flipping long to happen?
So, Chris Eubank Sr. fought Nigel Benn for the WBO, I believe it was the middleweight championship back in the day when they fought the first time. And Ben was the champion at the time, and Chris Eubank ended up stopping him. I think it was in the 10th. And 3 years later, I believe it was, they ran it back again. And at that point, both had the belts. Chris still had the WBO, and I believe at that point, Nigel Benn had the WBC belt. So they put the belts on the line, had another tear up, wasn't as good as the first one. Spoiler alert. And it was a draw. And it looked as if at that point, because what happens then is they both get to keep their respective belts. It looked as if there was going to be a trilogy fight.
Can I stop for a second? To hold on to a belt for 3 years, that's quite a big deal, isn't it, right? In boxing.
I would say,
I mean, if you fight more than once.
I would say that on the whole, people would probably fight a maximum of twice a year.
Yeah.
But that's potentially 6 fights. So yeah.
That's quite good, right?
Yeah.
Chris Eubank, by the way, like before we get into it, legend in boxing. I just want to say, like, I don't think we say that enough.
No,
of course. Yeah, I feel like, but I think people, because they see Eubanks with the monocle, they think he's a joke thing when really he is one of the strongest punchers.
Let's be honest, the first time that they fought, Chris Eubank Senior was 24-0, and he hadn't fought anyone of note. So that, and also Nigel Benn was like the fan favorite. Everyone loved him. And that was a big upset. That was a big upset, and that actually put Chris Eubank on the map. Yeah. Very, very different. Both of them are like super different characters. Nigel Benn coming from like an army, who's in the army background, pressure fighter, just comes forward, and Chris Eubank's there dancing on the outside. Made for a couple of really, really good fights. But yeah, unfortunately, there was no trilogy. I don't know. I can't remember why there was no trilogy. There should have been. There should have been a trilogy.
So it was never really resolved, was it?
It was never resolved. So what then happened is they both went and had kids, and
especially for this fight.
Literally,
sorry.
That was it.
Yeah. Even that was a competition.
We won't do a trilogy.
They got 2 hotel rooms next to each other. It's like, let's see who can go in more rounds.
I didn't hear that part of the story, but that might have well happened.
Yes, fact. True.
And then, and then it's been one of them ones that actually Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Senior are, I believe, they're like friends now, but their sons do not get along. And there is, in the same way that when Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn used to fight, there was like genuine hatred. And a lot of time in boxing, people hype up hype up beforehand, sell tickets and whatnot. These two hate each other, and that always adds like a good spice to any fight, because you know that whether or not they respect each other or whatnot, they want to tear each other's heads off.
They're both like their parents, man. Like Eubank Jr. is just sounding more and more like his dad. Like,
100%.
When he's like, I think I don't even know, he must know it now, but even when he is, his calm, cool demeanor and the way that he just says stuff makes it quite annoying if you're an angry person. If it's like, yeah, I'm going to just go for you like a breeze. I'll put a bit of effort in. And then like Ben Jr. is like, you're not taking me seriously, bruv. like, you get me? It's those two characters, if you had mates like that, you don't sit them next to each other at dinner, innit? Because the wind-up merch, we would. And we go buy a big packet of crisps or buy some popcorn or get some sharing nachos, get a beer in and be like, this is better than TV.
Let's make the fireworks to happen.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, Sean, I cut in on what you're saying. But so we got the big fight coming up Saturday, but we have had some delays. There was a failed drug test.
There was. So they were supposed to fight, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago now. And then there was a lot of hype, etc., etc. And then Conor Benn failed a drugs test, which 3 years later was revoked.
Really?
I don't know whether it was due to, a tainted supplement or whatever, but within that time he wasn't allowed to, he was suspended and he wasn't allowed to box here in the UK, but he was allowed to box in the States. So I believe he had 2 fights, which he moved up. So if anyone doesn't know, Chris Eubank Jr. is he's a super middleweight. He's coming down to middleweight for this, and Conor Benn is he a featherweight? He's coming up from 147 to 160, so that's a big jump.
It's big shit for me, boy. The size of me, boy. That's a big size difference, bruv.
Yeah, it's a big step up. And also in his 2 fights, Conor, that he's moved up in weight, he hasn't knocked out his opponent. Still looks like he can, he still looks like he can bang, but it's gonna be very interesting. You've got rehydration clause in there, so Chris doesn't put too much weight on, and there was all this. Yeah, there's it's just a lot of animosity, and let's be honest, it makes for a good, because like at the end of the day, it's a bit of a weird fight, I would say, because bar the history that their fathers had, like this fight would never ever happen.
There's no reason they should be seeing each other. Is it a size thing? Maybe like they just would, because they're just in 2 different spheres. Like one's big, one's smaller. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for someone to try and stretch that far to get big, or stretch that far to get small.
Yeah, and also the opposition that Chris has fought in the past is miles above the opposition that Conor's. And let's be honest, the opposition that the top level opposition that Chris has fought, to be honest, most of the time he's lost.
Okay.
Still held his own, but Conor hasn't fought anyone of that caliber. So it's a big. Chris is heavier and has way more experience. Naturally, the stronger guy, I would say. So
who would your money be on then? Considering that, then you had to be a betting man. You had to if I gave you a big pound coin and said, "Sean, let's make some change."
Betting man.
Yeah.
This is a really tough one. I would say betting man Chris. Heart, I want Conor to win. Okay. Also, I like an underdog story as well, but I think I've warmed more to Conor. I was in the early days of when the fight was announced. I was more in the Chris camp maybe, and now I've like shifted over to the.
Well, we know whatever happens, Sean. Though there's going to be another fight in it. There's going to be a rematch. You think they're going to do it once?
No, but it depends. So,
really?
Yeah, because it will be if there's a reason for a rematch, then sure. If it comes out, if for instance, Chris Eubank's just too big, and just
mashes him up in a round or 2, or so. I'm being ridiculous.
No. It could be 30 seconds, bro. It could be a single punch. You know. Yeah. But if it's a good fight, it's a money spin. Everybody wants to see it. I want to see it. I'm a boxing fan, but like it's not the fight. Really and truly, Conor should be fighting someone at 147.
Yeah.
He had lots of fights at 147, and he's hyped up a lot of people and kind of not followed through on things. And Chris really should be,
I tell you what, my dad watches big boxing matches, and he really watch Chris Jr. by himself. He wouldn't watch Benn Jr. by himself, right? But like he'll watch that because of all
it's
the
got
history,
the nation's
'cause of all
attention.
the history, yeah.
It's got the nation's attention.
When's it on Saturday?
It is. I mean, I'm going to guess that the ring walks are around the 10 p.m. mark. I believe.
All right, I'm up for watching it if you are, mate. I'll give you a shout.
I'm
Yeah, man.
100%.
Definitely.
100%
Saturday night, man.
26th.
Yeah, man. And I hope though, if it where are they doing it?
I believe it's in the. You know where it is? It's at the greatest stadium in the world.
It's in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Saudi
It's
Arabia.
at Emirates. Is it the Emirates?
Yeah, sure, bruv. For anyone I didn't know, it's at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah.
It's at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
It is actually a really nice stadium, I've got to be honest, man. It is a really nice
I mean,
stadium.
I'm going to say, and I'm not even being biased, but at the moment, it's the greatest stadium in the world.
I think it's a beautiful stadium. Yeah, amazing.
I think there are another couple where I think, is it Real Madrid that are building a current stadium? Chelsea are also building. It's going to be some good ones.
You're seeing, this is how you know, you are seeing artists who do worldwide stadium tours picking that stadium.
Yeah.
And it means a lot.
Acoustics, they've got the kind of, the wall, we would call it.
Yeah, and without shitting on other, I was going to do it, large capacity venues that I've seen. What's the capacity of Tottenham?
62,500.
So hard to get the sound right. I've been in places that are between 1/6, 1/3 of the size, and they ain't got the sound right.
Yeah,
and it's put me off. Like, I've gone to see artists that I really love, but my conversation is like the sound nerd in me goes, "Oh, this could be better." But the normal guy in me just goes, "It doesn't sound as good." It kind of takes the spice out.
Can I just say though, I find that just happens too often.
Yeah.
And I'm not even, and in some, I mean, like Wembley Arena, I've had it where I've seen a few people, I'm like, man, the sound's not correct, man. I like either the vocalist, the mic's too low, or there's too much bass, or like there's just, it frustrates me. I'm not gonna lie.
Because they do it. I would say it's because you do it to either suit one part of the room, or you haven't thoroughly thought about all parts of the room, or it's just not.
And I would also, I would guess as well that an empty room, of 30,000 people, the sound reverberation is going to be different if it was a full room, right?
But if all I did was fill glasses full of water, I would know the difference between the sound of an empty half and full glass. These men need to know these things. You get me? That's how I feel. So that's why, to be fair, I prefer, when I'm listening to my favourite music, I prefer to be in a club. And when it's stadium stuff, I think stand-up is lovely in a stadium because all you need to worry about is the voice, or maybe like an acoustic guitar, like an Ed Sheeran anyway, because you're going to hear his voice, a little bing, ding, 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 and the sound of him making loads of dough. But if you got like a really like advanced set of artists and stuff, like well, let's think of something more complex out, like an orchestra. I wouldn't want to go to an arena. I'd want to go to like, a proper,
a closed venue,
closed venue of such that is designed for orchestral music. Do you know what I mean? Or if I'm raving, I want to hear them. I want to low ceiling club for some raving stuff. Anyway, Sean, to just add a little bit of extra to this show because we can. I've got a story for you.
Okay.
We can leave the show here, or we can tell you the more of the story after I tell you the headline.
Intrigued.
Man kills stepdad with atomic wedgie and gets 30 years in prison.
Atomic. Oh, this almost sounds like those Russian dudes who stuck the air compressor up their mate's jacksie.
A judge sentenced a man who's convicted of killing his stepfather with a so-called atomic wedgie. Look, the worst wedgie I've seen is like in Sean's face is just like, and he's getting 30 years in. Bradley Davis pleaded guilty in May to first-degree manslaughter in December 2013. I know, it took ages to come through. According to court documents, David admitted to giving St. Clair an atomic wedgie by pulling St. Clair's underwear over the back of his head and allowing the elastic band to wrap around his neck. First, he was facing first-degree murder, but the charge was reduced to a plea deal. What a horrible, horrible way to go.
Wait, was it the front way? How?
I think it was over the back, and he carried on pulling it until it went over the neck. And then he was probably like struggling.
I've got so many questions.
if you. It's horrible, right? But I'm just thinking, you're gonna get banged up in jail, and they're gonna beat you up if they're like, "What are you in here for?" Yeah, I'm inside for manslaughter. What did you do? What was that? I did atomic wedgie on someone. What? I did an atomic wedgie on someone.
Maybe you might be a fucking legend.
Oh, yo, there's wedgie. Yo, wedgie, like that. I don't know, bro. But
They'll be like, "You did what?" He's like, "Fam, I killed someone with a wedgie. You want to test me?"
Oh shit, that's like John Wick shit. I heard about the time you killed 7 people with a biro pen or whatever in it. So he's like John Wedge. But why I did bring this up, right, is because obviously it's a horrible story, and we're taking the piss out of the guy that did it, which is the right person because he's a horrible person.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of just the dangerous shit we used to do as kids for fun.
There are times where I think, how is that?
Yeah, like bro, like obviously we don't need to get into it because a lot of it's personal, but like, isn't it mad how risk averse is definitely, what's the opposite of that? Risk free. We were just, but we didn't give a fuck. Some of the stuff, like jump off that. Yeah, let's jump off that and see what happens. What?
I know. That's how I know I'm kind of getting old, because now I'm like.
There was a dude from school that just jumped out the first floor window. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Because.
Bro,
would you?
He was an athlete though, isn't it?
He was an athlete.
Right, I'm getting old. I was on the train today, yeah. And there was three young guys in it. And they were just like, yeah, and like fucking this, fucking that. And I wanted to go, yo, there's kids on the train, bro. Like, keep your voice down, innit? Or whatever, innit? And I was like, oh, I'm such a fucking old man.
And they go, we're going to put on some old school music. And they put on 50 Cent. And they're like, that's not old school. Shut up, you fucking dickheads. Bro. Anyway, look, I just thought I'd throw that at you. Why not, innit, man? You get me? But Sean, it's been a pleasure as usual, man. If you want to send your jokes in, jokes@howtokillanhour.com. Find us on socials @howtokillanhour. Get those acorns to us and everything else that we've asked you to, man. I think it's always fun to hear what you guys have got to say. We got punishment coming up, as per usual. Like I just said, jokes@howtokillanhour.com. I'll see you there, Sean.
Punishment.
One more thing, Sean.
What?
We're going to have to let this run until not next episode, the episode after. But I have got a song where you have to guess what song this is. And we'll save it for the next week. I mean, it's going to be quite obvious, but I'm going to play it for you anyway.
Okay.
Should have played this for what you spoke about.
What is this?
It's our random remix.
What is it, like some sort of conga remix or?
Yeah, a nice little salsa remix.
Salsa remix. Do you know what I feel like I should be drinking while listening to this?
Go on.
Pina colada.
Oh, a pina colada would be sensational. In fact, let's have one while we watch the boxing, innit? Just like...
You and your... Are these remixes going to get more remixy?
I think we're going to have to find...
more remixy.
I think we can get... It's embarrassing how much I have, Sean, on my hard drive. I'm embarrassed of the amount of random stuff I have. But you know what? I'm sorry. I should have played that as you were talking about the boxing. You get me? But yeah, what can we do? Anyway, we'll be in the ear hole soon.
Peace.